Let me hear you say hallelujah. Let me hear you say I am blessed. Let me hear you say thank you, Jesus. Let me hear you say I am blessed. Let me hear you say hallelujah. Hallelujah. Let me hear you say I am blessed. I am blessed. Let me hear you say thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Let me hear you say I am blessed. I am blessed.
Oh, Glasgow. Thank you so much for coming to my beautiful show. It's so nice. I didn't want to do this show anywhere else. It had to be here, had to be in Glasgow. Had to be in this beautiful place. Thank you so much for coming. So this show is God is a Woman. So let's address the elephant in the room, shall we? This is Bernie. Bernie is Bernie's mountain dog. She is 45 kilos. And Bernie's a girl. She is a girl. Thank you. She is a girl. And men are always like, oh, look at the size of him. Oh, he's a big boy. I bet he could eat me. She's got a better taste than that, actually. And also, why is it always men that are fat-shaming my dog? Can you stop doing that? Thank you. And number two, why is it always that they assume that she's a boy? Like, everyone always thinks she's a boy. Why is it always boy first? It's always boy first, Mr. First, boy first. She's a girl, the dog is a girl, and she's actually had puppies, so she's a woman now. Thank you, I know. So the dog is a woman, and the dog... So the dog is a woman, and that was meant to be the title of this show, but there was a typo when it went to print, so now I've had to read all these Bible stories, which wasn't the avenue I was planning on going down, but sure, why not? Because I normally do shows about like Beyonce and thigh gaps, and I went a bit left field and did politics. And in the age of cancel culture, why not tackle religion, mate? Why not? How hard can it be, right? How hard can it be? So bearing in mind that religion is a very sensitive and very personal topic for many, many people, it's a very personal relationship people have with their religion, whether you're religious or not, it's very personal and sensitive, and it's delicate. So please bear in mind, when I do talk about religion in this show, I might say things that you might find offensive, that hurt you, and I just want you to understand my intention. Just please know where it comes from. So if I do say something that you do find offensive, just please understand that I genuinely don't care. So save it for Oprah, okay? I'm not, thank you, not interested. Okay, because for me, religion is very similar to stand-up. It's very similar to stand-up comedy. It's getting people together in a room and sharing stories in an enlightening way that makes you remember stuff that helps you through life. That's all it is. It's just sharing stories to help us navigate our lives in a more healthy, productive, hopeful way, hopefully. That's the idea of it. And I always remember a parable that I always remembered because it was such a beautiful story. It's a prayer, actually. It's called the Footprints Prayer. Have you guys ever heard of the Footprints Prayer? So the Footprints Prayer, if you don't know it, is Jesus and his best mate called Barry, right? So Jesus and Barry do everything together. They do everything together. They went to uni together. They graduated together. Like, Barry met his wife on a night out with Jesus, and Jesus was like, shots. Like, it was amazing. I mean, I'm paraphrasing the prayer, but essentially this is what it says. And they do everything together, and Barry and Jesus went out together all the time, and Jesus was best man at Barry's wedding, and he was like, oh, wine's on me, what? Like, everyone was really excited. They went to Carrie Underwood concerts together, and they were best of friends. And throughout their lives, they lived in Ibiza, who'd have thought? Throughout their lives, with Jesus and Barry, there was always two sets of footprints in the sand. So when they looked back at their lives, there was two sets of footprints, Jesus and Barry walking next to each other through life. And then sadly, the pandemic happened, and Barry lost his wife. She didn't die, she just realised that life was too short, so she got rid of anything that no longer served her. And Barry was vulnerable to that. So Barry ends up sleeping in a car, and he's been kicked out, and he's homeless, and he's in a car, and he looks at his set of footprints, and there's only one set of footprints in the sand, and he's like, where the fuck are you now, Jesus? Where the fuck are you now? Right? Because like when there was free shots at the bar, I couldn't get rid of Jesus then, two sets of footprints all the time then, weren't there, Jesus? But now I'm having the worst time of my life, like where the fuck are you? Like where the fuck are you now, Jesus? Again, I'm paraphrasing, but this is how he felt. Barry was stuck in the car and there was a knock on the window. So Barry winds down the window, gets to the window, and he looks and it's Jesus. And Jesus there like, Barry, it's me, Jesus. And Barry's like, Jesus, what are you doing here? I thought you'd left me because there's only one set of footprints in the sand. He's like, no, Barry, you idiot, I'd never leave you. Who do you think got you the car? It was me. The reason you only see one set of footprints is because in the hardest times of your life, I've been carrying you. Those footprints are mine, not yours, you donut. And Barry's like, oh, Jesus, I'm such a knob. I'm so sorry. I got it so wrong. Oh, don't worry about it, Barry. Oh, Jesus, can we just go for a drive? Sure, but you take the wheel? Right, so that was... Yes, thank you. So that's essentially the footprints prayer, right? Now, I'm going to be sharing a lot of stories because I've read a lot of books, right? I've read a lot of books and I've read a lot of information and done a lot of research. However, I'm really shit with names and dates. So the names and dates might be slightly off, but the intention is pure, which is kind of how all history has been recorded anyway. So if anything, I'm being on brand, right? So I want to look at religion, right? I want to look at the major religions that we have in the West. And in the Western world, you've got the Abrahamic religions. There are three major religions. They're the Abrahamic religions. And what's interesting about all of them is there's a top-down approach, right? It's a hierarchy. There's one at the top and everybody else beneath them. What's eating you, kid? Nothing. He's at the top of the food chain, right? So that's the Abrahamic religions. And the ultimate deity in all of them, the ultimate creator of all things, is a man. It's a masculine, it's the divine father. The father created everything. And I just find that a little bit bizarre that men created everything, because I don't know men to create shit apart from emotional turmoil every other Wednesday. For sure, you created everything. And as a woman, you're secondary to that. You were like a spare rib. That was your part. Like, that was it. You were secondary. It was the men that created everything. Ultimate deity is the masculine and the father. And for me, that's the ultimate gaslighting, that women who have given birth to life and humanity don't create anything, right? It's the ultimate gaslighting, because we know for many, many years, before the Abrahamic religion, I don't even know this, we used to have this goddess kind of worship where we worshipped women because we didn't realise men and women having sex caused childbirth. We just thought women were these magical unicorns that could pop out babies. Like, we had no idea. And this is back at a time, right? We've got to remember at the time, this is relevant because this is before Netflix and torches. So if you survived the dark, that was amazing. That was incredible. To survive the dark was incredible. To get to the daylight was to see the light in the day. That was your primary goal, just to survive and get to the light. So life was everything. Life was of the utmost important. Life was celebrated. So women were celebrated. And what we would do is we didn't know who the father was because we didn't think men had anything to do with it. Like, men had no accountability, no responsibility. Men had jack shit to do with a woman giving birth to life. Men had no role in that. But together we raised it as a village. Together as a community, we raised the children, right? And what's beautiful about this goddess religion is you'll still see elements of it now have survived in some certain third world countries, for example. You'll still see remnants of it. So if you look at parts of the USA, for example, there's parts of America that still believe that a woman gives birth to life and a man has absolutely no accountability or responsibility for it. And you go, okay, so let's look at the laws that they're making on a woman's autonomy, which is what they're doing when they come out with shit like Roe v. Wade. And you go, well, that's bad shit, that's over there. We're not going to do that over here. Like, that's America, they're crazy bitches in America. They love their movies, but crazy bitches. But we copy America. Like, we can't get too relaxed about this. When that Maverick film came out, we all started wearing their sunglasses again. Like, we are so easily influenced. And you also have to recognise, like, who we've got in power. Like, who we've got in power here is also very important. So I don't know if you guys know about Jacob Rees, Paint Me Like One of Your French Girls Morgue. You know that guy? You know that guy, right? So he's come out. So what they've done over there is Roe v. Wade in America. They've overturned Roe v. Wade. And over here, we've got Jacob Rees-Mogg, and he's come out and he has said he's of such high moral standing himself. He has come out and said that if a woman was raped by her brother and ended up pregnant, it would be immoral of her to have an abortion on that pregnancy. It would be immoral of her. Even if she was raped by her brother, it would be immoral. And you go, what a man of such stature. That same man who's come out and said that, and he sits on anti-abortion boards and all these things, has also profited from the sale of the abortion pill because he's used his private investment firms to profit in it. That's the kind of hypocrisy that we're dealing with here. And you go, it's never about sanctity of life or equality. It's never about any of those things. It's about money, it's about power, it's about control. It's all it's ever been fucking about. And don't kid ourselves into thinking there's anything more than that, right? Because you go, okay, you want to do Roe v. Wade and you want to make it about life and the importance of life and equality? Let's make it about fucking equality then. This is how we make Roe v. Wade equal. Fine, let's make abortion illegal. happy to make abortion illegal. But then, what I want to see is if any man gets a woman pregnant and she has to carry that child and go through with that pregnancy and she doesn't want to, what you're going to do is you're going to make the man pay 80% of his earnings for the next 18 years directly into that woman's bank account so she can raise and bring up that child, right? And 80%... Oh, yeah, it's so exciting. Big stretch, mommy. Thank you. 80%, I think, actually, as you know, if you're a parent yourself, I think 80% barely touches the size of what you probably spend on your kids, right? And it's fine if a man can't afford to pay that, because, you know, sometimes they go, oh, but I'm on benefits, I can't pay child support because I haven't got a job, so I can't pay child support. That's fine. You go to jail, you go directly to jail, you do not pass go, you do not collect £200. And guess what you're going to do in jail for 18 years? You're going to work in a creche. That's going to be your job for 18 years, right? That's what we implement. You want to make it equal? You put those laws in. And let me tell you right now, my friend, we only need to implement those laws for one generation of men, right? And what you will see is, oh my days, these boys will be coming up to you, and before they even think about having sexy time, they'll make you sign a contract to promise that you'll have an abortion if they want you to, and they will make sure the ink on that paper is dry before they even think about getting their dick wet. That's how you fucking make it equal. That's how you make it equal. So the Abrahamic religions, right? You've got the father at the top, you've got the ultimate father. So let's look at the Abrahamic religions. There's 3 of them. So the first one you've got is Judaism. Is that how you say it? Judaism? Is that how you say it? Yeah, Judaism. And you've got Abraham there. Abraham was a really funny guy. He was really witty. Abraham was lovely. That was really cool. Told really good one-liners. And what you might know about the story of Abraham is Abraham was married to a woman called Sarah, and they were married for like how many years? Like he lived to 150. Sarah was barren. She couldn't have children. She lived to like 182. They both lived to a really long time, and then eventually Sarah had a baby, like at 112, and it was a miracle. And Abraham took that baby to his new best friend to a barbecue, and then the guy was like, don't worry about it, and everybody was like, wow, what a legend, we keep the baby. And actually what's interesting about that story is all of history is written from the people who had access to education. So if you had access to education, you could record what's happened in history, but those people were generally people that were wealthy, and most of the times they were men, right? So it's history, it's his story, and what I think we're omitting is looking at the female role models in all of these religions. Like, where are the women? What's her story? What about her? So I'd like to share maybe an alternative perspective on that religion, that maybe Sarah wasn't barren, maybe she was a career woman, she made a choice, she was quite happy, actually. She made a good choice, right? She was very happy. She didn't want kids. She had a haberdashery business. It was very successful. She liked her life as it was. She liked having a holiday. She liked having her free time. She liked having a waistline. She was very happy with herself. Didn't want to have babies. Was very pleased, right? Then Abraham comes along at 112 on his 4th retirement, and he's like, I'm going to get you pregnant. And she's like, no, Abraham, we've talked about this. Like, I don't want kids. I'm 112. Leave me alone. And he was like, no, I've got a mate down the pub who's going to help me get you pregnant. We had a threesome. Do you remember? We had a threesome, didn't we? And who did it not end up happily for? Not for you, my friend, yeah, because you couldn't get it up for 6 months afterwards because you got all in your head about it, didn't you? Right? So no, we're not doing that again. We're not doing that. He's like, no, I'm going to get you pregnant. You're going to love it, right? Now, sorry, if you were 112 and you got pregnant, do you really think you'd be loving it? Have you ever met an old woman? Like, old women complain about carrying a cup of tea from the kitchen to the sofa, let alone a child to full term. I think what actually happened is Sarah was like, I've got arthritis in my fucking eyelids. And you're making me carry a child to full fucking... And then when she has the baby, you take it for a fucking... You take it for a barbecue? Are you fucking joking, Abraham? Fucking should have killed you when I had the chance, you schmuck. Right? So that's Judaism. The second religion... The second religion we're going to look at is Islam. So let's have a look at Islam. So what you might not know about the Prophet Muhammad is that he was also very charismatic. And what you might not know about the Prophet is that his first wife was actually older than him. Oh, cougar. And this actually, in nature, makes complete sense. It makes complete sense. I know for a long time we've accepted the idea of older men fucking younger women. It's as creepy as it looks. She needs therapy. Pay for that. Stop being such a weirdo, right? Actually, what makes more sense is to have older women fucking younger guys, and I'll tell you for why. Because men sexually peak in their 20s, women sexually peak in their 30s. So what you need to do is you need to change it, right? Because we develop at different ages. From like a 5-year-old girl and a 5-year-old boy are very different. A 5-year-old girl is there doing arithmetic, matching things into the pictures, into the matching picture books, right? A 5-year-old boy is like completely different. It's completely different. And that stays like that, right? That stays like that. What you need is rather than two 20-year-olds having sex, is you need two male and female 20-year-olds having sex, you need two 30-year-olds having sex, you need to swap it around. So two 20-year-olds having sex will look like this, right? Because he's horny McCormick, and he's got all this spunk that he's desperate to get rid of, right? But he doesn't know, he's like a little wild horse, he doesn't know what to do with it yet, he hasn't been tamed, so he's ready to just fuck anything, right? And he gets his intimacy education from like Extreme Tube. He doesn't know anything about intimacy or climax or opening your third eye. He doesn't know anything about that shit, right? And she's really nervous and insecure because she's 20, she's just on social media, so she just doesn't love herself yet because she hasn't, life hasn't beaten her to the fucking ground where she's had to build herself up from the ground up. So she gets to an age where she's like, I'm good now, right? That's not happened to her yet, so she's still easily influenced by everybody else's opinion. So she's there like, oh, I'm so fat, look how fat I am, I'm so fat. Right? So then having sex is useless because he'll be there like this, we're gonna do anal, we're gonna do triple anal, and then I'm gonna punch you in the head. Oh, sorry, do you consent to that? And she's an idiot, right? So she'll be like, triple anal sounds amazing. Sorry, I'm so fat. Oh, yeah. Just can I ask that if you are gonna tag me before you put it out online, can you just film it from above with a filter? Thank you. Yeah, right. It's useless. Two 30-year-olds having sex, equally useless, right? Because she's horny McHornison and he's like, it's a Wednesday, I've got work in the morning. No. So you just need to marry the skill set, right? You just need to marry the skill set. So what you do is you get the 30-something-year-old woman with a 20-something-year-old man, and then the sex would look a bit more like this. Listen, stop spitting on yourself, right? No one's doing anal. Relax your crack. It's embarrassing. Now listen, we're going to have a wonderful time tonight. We're going to have an amazing time. We're going to have a good time because you're going to do exactly what I tell you. Don't get in your head about it. Yes, you're still the alpha. So here's the thing. Listen, just do exactly as I tell you. I consent. Don't worry about it. I wouldn't be here otherwise. So listen, we're going to have a wonderful time. But here's what I need you to recognise, my friend. I am fat. I've got cellulite to the back of my knees, But right now, my friend, I'm sat on your face. And that tells me one thing. It tells me you are lucky. What are you? Exactly. Because I am a motherfucking goddess. What am I? Exactly. So that's Islam taken care of. So, just a note as well on religion, what's important is translation is really important because often it gets translated as like Chinese whispers. So another interesting thing is this idea of virgins, and maybe there's a mistranslation because actually in those times what was a very popular fruit was dates. Dates are very popular, like raisins, like grapes. Raisin is a very similar word to virgin. So what they were meant to have up there was like loads of scone, like an afternoon tea. But instead you've got all these young girls being like, I got a fucking what? Like it's very complicated. It's just, translation is difficult, isn't it? And important to recognise in religion. Which brings us nicely to Christianity. So, and we're in this beautiful church. So Christianity, I'm sure you all know, the origins of that story is, of course, Adam and Eve, which is so clearly written by a man. It's unreal. Like, a bitch couldn't stick to a diet, so the world ended. How predictable. Yawn, can't wait for season 2. So... And of course, we know since then that actually where we all came from Africa. We all came as a human race. We all came from Africa. We all came from black women is where we all came from. But let's stick to the facts. We've got Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. And what's interesting is even if you think that a religion doesn't affect you and you're like, oh, but I'm an atheist, it doesn't bother me, mate, it still bothers you, right? Like, even you're like, oh, but I don't believe in God. So here's the thing. Our working week has still been decided from the Bible. It's been decided because we don't work on Sundays, we don't work on weekends, so our working week has been affected by religion. The missionary position is a position that was the church-authorized position, because basically we used to fuck like, oh, wild animals, like we'd do reverse cowgirl, we'd do all these fun positions, and the church came along and they didn't like it because they made us too similar to animals. And the only position that an animal can't get into is the missionary position where a male lies on top of the woman and she's subservient to him. Animals can't get into that position because you're not that flexible, are you, monkey? So the man lies on top of the woman, he's dominant to the woman, that became the official church authorized position. That's the position that they wanted everybody at home to practice. So even if you don't believe in God, next time you're on top, my friend, just know that he believes in you, okay? So that's the missionary position. So you've got Adam and Eve, and of course you've got Jesus, right? So the story of Jesus. Now Jesus was a cool guy. Guys, Jesus was so cool. Jesus was sound. Like, Jesus was just a hippie. Like, he had a long beard, long hair. Like, he probably came from Glasgow. Like, he was cool, right? Jesus was very, very cool. At the time, the theory was that if you were wealthy or royal, it's because you had been divinely chosen and God had chosen to have that life for you. And if you were poor or struggling or sick or any of those things, it's because you were a worthless piece of shit and God hated you and he chose you to have that life. And Jesus came along with this new philosophy that was like, guys, don't worry, like, you're all great. Like, thank you. Like, you're all great, guys, don't worry about it, right? Like, you're all deserving of great love. Like, I love all of you. Like, it's not my fault, that's how you sound. So Jesus' message was just great love. Jesus' message was that you all deserve great love. But he was annoying. Like, Jesus was fucking annoying. Like, he's one of those fuckers that, like, if you had him as a roommate, you'd be like, Jesus, get your bike out the corridor. Fucking hell, Jesus. So fucking leaving your bike every day in the fucking corridor, Jesus. Oh, but you make really good carrot cake. Jesus. Like, so he was annoying, right? But he was a sweet guy. So, again, what we have to be careful of is translation. So Jesus was like, listen, you're all deserving of God's love. Everyone's deserving of my Father's love. You all deserve a great fucking love. Like, I want everyone to come to me. Come unto me, little children. But again, there was a mistranslation. So now you've got grown men fucking onto... So... I don't know why you're hating on... I'm just a messenger, so I don't know why you're getting angry at me. Like, that's... Like, I wrote that shit. They're the three major religions, right? They're the three major religions. And the one I'm going to really focus on, I guess, is Christianity, is Catholic. I do a Catholic religion because I grew up Catholic because my mum was Polish. She's not a cleaner. Don't be such a racist. Why would you say that? It's so offensive. Should be, very good one. She used to teach English as a foreign language, which is hilarious because she always got English wrong, but I don't hate the play, I hate the game. And I've been doing comedy for a long time, right? So that meant I moved home a lot. And my mum always had like iconography on the walls. It's a very Polish thing. So whereas you might have grown up and had like a boy band on your wall, my mum had like the Pope on hers. Like, it was very common in Polish culture, right? And when my mum first came over here, she was like fresh off the boat accent, like "Fuck you," like this. But she used to listen to a lot of BBC News to like integrate into the community. And that was the days when they had the RP accents, not the beautiful dialects you have now. It was the RP accents. So my mum learned to speak English like this, but would always get her English completely wrong. So you could still tell she was a massive immigrant. So like, I'd be in my room, I would have like moved home for another session, and I would have moved home, and I'd get out of the shower, and I'd be in my bedroom. I say bedroom, the room that she turned to an office. Okay, so I'd be there, she'd come in, and I'd startle, so my towel would drop, and she'd be like, "Oh, you're so fat, I can't believe how fat you are, why are you so fat and useless, Luisa, darling, why are you so fat and lazy, my darling, look at this back fat, nobody in Poland has back fat, only you British girls have this back fat, why are you so useless? I've already been outside, I've painted the shed, I've cleaned the fence, I've, rearranged all the furniture, I've done everything, I've cooked the dinners for tonight, I've washed the car twice, what have you been doing?" And I'd be like, "Mom, I did like 5 minutes of new material yesterday, like, I worked really hard, I did 5 minutes of new material." And she'd be like, "You're useless, why are you so fat and useless? Please, darling, do something with your life, I can't believe it." At this point, I start crying, right? I wasn't ready for this onslaught. I just got out of the shower, like, walking on sunshine, like, really, like... that I was quite proud of myself because last night went really well. Like I was not waiting for this onslaught. At this point I started crying and my mum would come and she'd be like, oh darling, I'm sorry, it's my English. Yeah, because you can really confuse, oh my gosh, you're so fat and lazy, it's horrific. With I love you exactly as you are, Luisa, can't you? Sure, right? So we grew up in a very Catholic household, and what it meant was we did a lot of Catholic traditions that are very Polish traditions. So one of them was that on Christmas Day, you'd say Christmas Day for Jesus, but on Christmas Eve, you'd celebrate it more. So Christmas Eve, you weren't allowed to eat the whole day, and when the first star came out, you had a big meal of 12 dishes. So all day you wouldn't eat, and you'd be really hungry, and you'd go to the fridge and be like, oh, Mum, can I have something to eat? I'm starving. And she'd be like, please, you're hardly starving. I'd be like, all right, fuck's sake. Can you just fucking give it a rest for one day? Can you give it a rest for one day? It's, oh my God, not today, it's his birthday, fuck's sake. And the first star would come out, and no matter how many people sat around the table, you gotta save a place for Jesus, just in case Jesus drops by. Right? And so every year I'd be like, oh, can I sit next to Jesus? Oh, Mom, is that the doorbell or the wind? Oh, Jesus. And every year she'd get really annoyed with me and be like, can you stop being rude about Jesus? And I'd be like, hello, who's being rude? He's not eating his fish, right? So we grew up. And what was always surprising to me is, like, I love my mum. I've got a single mum. I grew up with a single-parent household. My dad's not been around much. Can you tell? Don't laugh at that. It's painful. It's my life. Thank you. And I've always loved and admired women. Like, women are like my icons. Like, if I think about people that I look up to, it's women. And that's all icons are, really. I think that's where we get this idea of religion, of looking up, that somebody is so brilliant and gracious and living their best life and fulfilling their potential. Like, I love Beyonce. Like, for me, I don't want to be Beyonce, but I want to be Beyonce of my life, because it's somebody that's just phenomenal and fulfilling and living their full potential. And you look up to that because you go, wow, like, I'd love to be like that, right? So I was always looking through, like, religion and in church and listening to all the stories. I was like, well, where are the women? And they're like, oh, they are there. Yeah, but they've got like two characters. You're either a virgin or a whore. Like, where's... And they're like, oh, but they're very important characters. Yeah, but there's such bullshit. Like, men, you could be loads of things. You could be a preacher, you could be a teacher, you could be a king, you could be a poet, you could be all these fucking things. Women is virgin or whore. Like, pick a side, virgin or whore. Like, where's the depth? Like, where's the nuance? Where's, like, the horny virgin or the frigid whore? Like, those characters exist, I know, because I've been both, right? So where are they in the stories? And so I started reading more about religion and looking into it. And then did you know that the Bible wasn't actually written by Jesus? I know, right? So the Bible is a collection of stories that was edited over time and time again. It was edited time and time again. It's just a collection of stories that just gave an insight to some of the time. But there was loads of other stories as well. They're just not included in the final edit, right? And if you think about now on our news, if people were to look at our news sites in like 150 years' time, they're going to be looking at us and being like, oh, wow, those migrants on boats must have taken over the whole world. Like, they must have been everywhere. And that you must have not been able to move for migrants on boats. It must have been fucking horrific for people. Oh, and that Meghan Markle, the rainforest she destroyed single-handedly. Well, how evil, right? And you go, that's not the fucking news. That's never been the fucking news. The news is that we're facing the worst cost of living crisis in a generation for people, that it's been horrific for people. And what's happened is there was a social contract that is failing, and we're seeing the social contract for what it is now, and people aren't honouring their side of the fucking contract. So for many, many years, it was cool, because you'd go to work, and you do your 9 to 5, and for your 9 to 5, you get paid a fair enough salary, that what you could do with that is you could heat your house, you could put food on the table, you get a takeaway every other week if you wanted, you could go on a nice holiday twice a year, you could get an extension, you go loft conversion, you could fix the bathroom, get a conservatory, you could do those things, right? And you didn't get paid loads of money, but you got enough to have a nice fucking life. And so you didn't mind your boss if he had a second house or a third house, because you didn't want to do the admin, you didn't want to be in control of a team, you were happy to just tap in, tap out, do your job, have a nice quality of life. That was the fucking contract. Only now the contract's changed, so now we're seeing that we're putting in the same hours, if not more. We're putting in more hours than we've ever had to before, but rather than to decide which holiday to go on or what Chinese takeout to have that weekend, now we're deciding for working twice as fucking hard which one room to heat in our fucking house, while they're buying their 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th house. And you realise you fuckers don't care about us. We're doing our part, you're not doing your part. You're not taking care of us, and we're getting fucked royally. And for the first time, I think, in a long time, we're collectively getting together and being like, this is bullshit. Let's look the fuck up. Like, we're not playing for your fucking bullshit games anymore, where you think that my enemy is who's next to me. It's not who's coming from across the fucking sea. It's look up who's got the fucking money and the power and the control and is fucking me. That's the real news. That's the real story. But it's not going to be included in the fucking daily edit because it doesn't serve a certain narrative, because it doesn't serve a certain group of people. And I would just like to put forward to you that maybe the Bible was susceptible to the same kind of thing, right? So I started reading all these books about the Bible, and there was loads of other books that were found that were written at the time that weren't included in the final edit, loads of scriptures, and they've been verified. They were written at the same time. It's not that somebody put a tea bag in it and put it in the oven for half an hour. Like, they've been verified, right? And one of my favourite books and scriptures that I came across is called The Lost Gospel of Mary Magdalene, right? They found it. You can get it on Amazon. I mean, they got it from a cave, but you can now get it on Amazon, right? And The Lost Gospel of Mary Magdalene blew my mind. This scripture is beautiful, right? And we all know about Mary Magdalene because everybody knows, they're like, only she wasn't, right? Mary Magdalene loved sucking dick. Who doesn't love sucking dick? Right? Who doesn't? Right? I do, is what I mean. I do, okay? Right? But Mary Magdalene was never paid for sucking cock, which was a shame because she was very good at it, like me, very professional. So actually, again, women are not getting paid what they're worth, are they? Anyway, she wasn't, right? She was never paid for it. She was never a prostitute. She was never a prostitute. In fact, she came from high society. In fact, the church came out and apologised for ever referencing to her as a prostitute in the year 1969. I mean, read the room, mate, pick your year, but sure. 1969. And it was such a measly apology. It was like a corner of the newspaper on page 46, like, oh, by the way, that major figure that's female throughout history, we lied. Like, it was a very measly apology. So let me tell you about Mary Magdalene. So Mary Magdalene came from money. She was wealthy. She had so much fucking money. She was wealthy. Her dad, like, discovered, like, Zoom before the pandemic. Like, they just suddenly knew money, right? And they were very wealthy. Like, she was like the Kim Kardashian of her day. Her eyebrows were on fleek. Now, here's what you need to know about the time. Is Mary's a Gentile. So Mary's a Gentile, so she like worshipped the sun, moon and stars. She had a poster of a Savage Garden on her wall. She never signed contracts when Mercury was in retrograde, that kind of woman, right? Now what you need to understand at the time is you've got several groups of people. You had the Gentiles, you had the Jews, you had the Romans, right? So the Jews get a lot of shit, right? Because the Jews get a lot of shit because people always think that the Jews killed Jesus. But it's just history. You just need to know your history. It wasn't the Jews that killed Jesus, it was the time. So if you look at the time of that history, what you had the Romans, the Jews and the Gentiles. The Romans you all know about because they built all the roads and they punched lions in the face with a little silver skirt on, right? And people go, oh, the Jews killed Jesus. But that was just a narrative that, again, the church pushed because it wasn't the Jews that killed Jesus. Basically, the Romans were in charge. So the Romans gave the call to kill Jesus. So the guys that killed Jesus was the Romans. The Romans gave the call to kill Jesus, but the guy that happened to kill Jesus happened to be Jewish. But that doesn't mean the Jews killed Jesus. It means the Romans killed Jesus. But nobody ever blames the Romans because everybody's like, oh, but the M25 is very useful. No. Leave the Jews alone. It was the fucking Romans, right? Anyway. Now. So Mary hates the Jews. Mary hates the Jews because she reads the Daily Mail and she's like, oh, come over here, take all our jobs. She's never met a Jewish guy, but she loves that newspaper, right? Horoscopes are very accurate. So she's just there living in her tower and she's doing very well for herself, but her dad is desperate for her to get married. She's like 24 and he's like, Mary, you need to settle down and marry somebody, Mary. You're being very difficult about this whole situation. And Mary's like, Dad, how many times do I have to tell you? All my friends that got married when they were 12 are on antidepressants now. That's not me. I'm not doing that. When I fall in love, I'll get married. Like, when I meet my guy, I'll get married. But until then, I'm not getting married. Stop pressuring me. It's not going to happen. And he's like, oh, Mary, look, there's a guy called Jesus who's coming around. And Jesus wanted to meet Mary Magdalene's dad because he was making a name for himself in the town, Jesus was. And Mary Magdalene's dad was a high figure in that society. So Jesus wanted to come around. And Mary Magdalene's dad was like, listen, Mary, Jesus, you could meet maybe you could get together with Jesus. You might like him. And he's like, all right, what's Jesus? Like, what's he do? Well, he's a nice Jewish man from Bethlehem. Oh, I'm not fucking a Jewish guy. I don't like Jewish guy. I'm not dating from Bethlehem. He's a chav. I'm not fucking a chav. No. Mary, will you just give the guy a try? You might like him. He's a very, very nice guy. He seems very loving. What does he do for a living? Well, he's a carpenter. Basic. I'm not fucking a carpenter. No. Like, is he even any good at it? I think he's quite good at it. Yeah, well, like, has he got like a YouTube channel? Like, is he good on there? He's got some
social media following? Yeah, well, how many followers has he got? Well, at the moment it's 12, but it is. It's going, although some people say it's 11 and maybe you'll be the 12th one. What are you chatting about? Why do you keep talking in riddles? It's not a riddle, Mary, it's a parable. Fucking parables make sense, Dad. Riddles fucking have a secret meaning. Oh, my English. Listen, I'm not fucking, so he's got 12 followers. No, I'm not fucking a Jewish carpenter. That's so bad. I'm not, no, sorry, no. Mary, just give him a chance. No, I'm good. See you later. All right. So Mary goes upstairs, and then the doorbell rings, so she, looks down, looks out of her window, she sees Jesus pulled up, and she's like, oh, what is that on his feet? No, no. No. So Jesus has come round, and Mary's dad is Mary, come downstairs and be nice to Jesus. No, I'm good, thanks. Come downstairs right now and be nice to Jesus. Otherwise, I'll take away all your inheritance and your tablets, right? Now, again, I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what it says in this scripture, right? Now, in the scripture, on the next page, it says, Mary Magdalene comes down in a wedding dress to greet herself as the bride of Christ, right? And I'm going, sorry, how bipolar is this bitch? Like, what? No page has been ripped out, right? Because this page says IV and this page says V, so you know it's a continuation. It's a little Roman numeral joke for you all. Oh. If you're into the classics, on that one. Anyway. So on this page, Mary's like, fuck this Jewish guy, not dating a carpenter, what's that on his feet? And on the next page, she comes down in a wedding dress. And then you realise, right, that doesn't make any sense, but then you realise that a lot of history and scriptures and how it has been recorded by people that had access to education, right? And a lot of those times they were men. And maybe men are not very good at translating a woman's language, even when she's speaking plain fucking English, right? The classic example being like, don't worry about it, it's fine. Ooh, read between the lines, dickhead, read between the lines, right? So you go, well, why don't we revisit scripture and maybe revisit it and translate it from the perspective of the people that it was written about? So why would a woman be like, fuck this guy, and then come down in a wedding dress? Of course. Because what do you do when you have to go on a date with somebody that you've got absolutely no interest in, but you're forced to go on the date? You go, fine, I'll go on the date, I'll go on the fucking date. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do everything in my power to scare the living shit out of this fool, right? Bring me the dress, bring me the dress, bring me the dress, bring me the dress. Mary comes down in a wedding dress like, dan, 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 dan. Lifts up her veil, takes one look at Jesus, her nipples are hard, she's like, holy shit, you're the most beautiful man I've ever met in my life. Oh, I'm going to have to convert, I'm in love with a Jewish carpenter. And Jesus is there like, nah, bitch, but he doesn't say bitch because he's Jesus. He's like, nah, queen, it's cool, listen, I heard what you said about me and my people. Well, I didn't hear it, but he told me, so I'm going to go. It's a shame. I was really looking forward to meeting you, Mary. And Mary's like, no, please stay. I've just never met a Jewish guy before. You just, please don't go. No, it's cool, Mary. I'm gonna get off. Actually, listen, Mr. Magdalene, if you ever need any more shelves putting up, you just let me know. I'll see you around, Mary. See you around. And Jesus leaves, right? And Mary's like, no, I ruined it. That was my guy. That was my lobster. That was my guy. That was him. I ruined it. This awful. So she ran upstairs to her room and she's crying and she tears down the poster of Savage Garden. She's distraught. And she's trying to there be like manifesting him. Like, please, I'll do anything. I'll fly you to the moon and back if you'll be my baby, please, right? Now, luckily for Mary, a few days later, there was a knock at the door, and Jesus came back. This very quickly became like his whole USP, right? So, you're right. It's very clever. It's just the whole basis of the religion is based on the fact that it came back. Like the resurrection is like the major part of that religion, like it's a major founding part of one of the major religions that's affected us in the Western world. And the whole premise of the crux of it is that it came back. So me just doing a little joke like that, anyway. So Mary answers the door. By this point, it just turns into a Hollywood film, right? Because Mary answers the door and she's like, Jesus, you came back. Of course I came back, Mary. Listen, Mary, I wanted to apologize for my behavior. I'm sorry. What you said, it triggered me, and rather than take that as an opportunity for growth and just ground myself and work on my trauma techniques that I've been practicing,
and take that opportunity to learn and to grow and to try and talk to you. I just got triggered and I reacted rather than responded, and I wanted to apologize for my part in that story. Oh no, Jesus, no, you shouldn't apologize. No, Jesus, that was my fault. You don't apologize for being triggered. That was my fault, Jesus. I'm sorry. I was an idiot, and I've been doing so much reading and learning all about Judaism. Is that how you say it? Your Judaism. Yeah, this sounds amazing, and the food sounds delicious. Yeah, the food's not bad. The food's not. And I canceled my subscription to the Daily Mail. That's growth, Mary. That's growth. I appreciate that, Mary. No, I know I did, and you're a carpenter. Well, I mean, wow, yeah, there's nothing, it's just carpentry. But no, it's not just carpentry, Jesus. Like, carpentry is so important, so people don't realize how significant carpentry is. Oh, man, no, people don't always get it. So, you must be pretty good with wood, huh? Yeah, I'm not bad. So you must do that thing, you know, when you have a room and you have the wall and then you have the floor and everyone just thinks, oh, it's just a plain room, nothing to see here. But then you put that piece of wood at the bottom of the wall and it's at the floor, and then all of a sudden it looks like a home. It's like a home with the. Oh, you talking about a skirting board? Yeah. Can you do a skirting board? Yeah, I can do skirting boards. That's really impressive. Like, I don't know how you get them so straight in these old houses that are built on hill. Well, they're not old now, but later they'll be old. Like, and these new build houses that are built on it. Like, how do you get it straight? Oh, I use something called a spirit level. Oh, of course you do, Jesus. Of course you do. Oh, jeez. Oh, Mary. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Mary. Take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. You don't need to tell me twice, Mary. You don't need to tell me twice. And Mary and Jesus start fucking, and they start fucking there and then. Bam, 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 right? And the dad's like, not on the kitchen floor, Mary. At least you're having a good time, right? And they have incredible sex. And actually, there's lots of research and lots of stuff out there to prove and to show that actually their message was make great love. Because what they did is they connected. They found their lobster. Friends is modern day scripture. Find your lobster. Make great love. We're not meant to be isolated. We're not meant to be on our own. We're meant to be part of a community. We're meant to have love. It's the whole fucking thing. It's in nature. It's the most natural thing in the world to want to connect with somebody. And what happens when you connect with somebody on a spiritual, physical, emotional level, when you find your person and your partner and you make great love, you feel on top of the world. Every problem, every ailment can be healed or at least alleviated by throwing great love at it. That's the solution and answer to everything. And Mary and Jesus, they fucked all the time. It was incredible. They went around, they shared the message. You can find your lobster, make great love. Because think about normally in everyday life. You're like, if somebody asks you for a favor, no, I can't do that. No, I haven't got any change. No, you can't stay at my house. No, you can't buy my car. No, my fridge is not for you. Thank you. But imagine when you're getting fucked properly. You know, fucked properly, right? And you climax, and you're about to fucking open your third eye and climax, have the most amazing time. And there's that bit before where you get really strong and you can literally pick this fucker up and throw him across the room. Which is weird, because in the daytime, I can't do a burpee. I've tried, Joe Wicks, I've tried. And in that moment, as the choirs are about to start singing, and you're fucking like, wow, this is heavenly, right? In that moment, if somebody was to come and ask you for a favour, you'd be like, mate, have the keys. Stay as long as you like. The fridge is yours. I've got plenty, because I've got all I need right here, right? Everything we need right here on earth right now. We can make heaven a place on earth. Belinda Carlisle is just a modern day prophet. Heaven is a place on earth. We can make it beautiful. And I hate this idea that we lose ourselves from responsibility or accountability by going, it doesn't matter how we behave now, just later before we get in, if we say sorry, we'll be all right. No, we have everything we need right here, right now to make the world beautiful. That's what would happen if you make great love. And actually that idea of manifestation or abundance or the secret, actually, one of the ancient messages throughout all major religions is that there's a commonality between all of them, which is treat others how you wish to be treated. Put out what you wish to give back in. You put out love, you get love back. And actually, that was the message. Make great love. And doesn't that make more sense as a religion, as a way of life, to make great love and be in a place of love? Because every drug that you take now is to try and simulate that feeling of orgasm, is to simulate that feeling of ecstasy. And if it's natural and it's in nature, it's abysmal, it's despicable that it's been weaponized to use for shame, to belittle, to control.
when it's the most natural thing in the world. It's in nature, it's natural. You're supposed to love connecting with somebody. You're supposed to love sex. There's a part of the species, there's a species that has a part of the body that is purely made for pleasure and nothing else. And it's women, and it's the clitoris, right? And it's the clitoris. The only job of the clitoris is purely for her pleasure. Purely for her pleasure. There is no other role for that clitoris. Men keep trying to give it 2 or 3 jobs. It hasn't got them. Your willies, mate, your willies, 2 or 3 jobs. The clitoris, 1 job. Pleasure. That's fucking it. Do you really think that the ultimate deity, that the ultimate creator of all things would have given the fun button to the other side? Do you think so? Do you think so? Or do you think maybe she went, this is perfection. I'm going to put a cherry on top. Boop, there we go. Maybe that's what happened. Make great love, have pleasure, have all of these things. We're meant to make great... That was the message, that was always the message. We were always meant to get on our knees, but it was never for prayer, it was for cunnilingus. That was the word. That was the word. And if it's natural, it's in nature, it's supposed to be there, it's supposed to happen, right? So for many years we had deities that were both masculine and feminine. They were both. Gender was fluid, it's natural, it's in nature. And we celebrated those people because they had balance, they had both. Like this idea of, which I find abhorrent, is that holy scriptures have been used to justify violence towards groups of people. So the gays for many years have suffered hate at the hands of certain religious people, when actually we need the gays. The gays are so important to survival. In fact, the only reason we exist as a human race is because of the gays. It's because of the gays, right? And I'll tell you for why. I'll tell you for why, right? Because as a humanity, and in order for a human race to exist and to survive this long, we've had to work together as a community. If we don't work together as a community, we would have died out a long time ago. We have to hold each other up. We would have died out a long time ago. Now, men and women sometimes are twats. And when they're twats, they argue. And when they argue, they don't get on, and they're not fucking, so they're not procreating. If they stop procreating, we would have died out generations ago. We need to keep humanity procreating. How do you do that when men and women can be dickheads at times? What you do is you have a fight with your partner, then you call your gay best friend, because hello, the fucking gays are there. You call your gay best friend, you go out with them, and you're like, oh, but Derek, what does he mean? Fucking Derek breaks it down for you and tells you actually maybe your part in that you played, right? But you have such a good night with Derek because it makes you feel fabulous and wonderful about yourself. You get drunk, you dance all night long. Derek then goes, go on, Sandra, get back in there, go fuck Barry again. And Sandra's like, oh, can't I just marry you, Derek? Fuck off, Sandra, you know I love the cock. Get back in there, go on. Sandra gets back in, she jumps back on fucking Barry's dick, and the human race continues, and the gays are just sat at the sides that they've healed and fixed the world and saved it for another fucking day, right? We owe the gays everything. If it's in nature, it's natural. And another thing that's in nature and natural is you have the day after the night, you have the sun after the moon, after winter must come spring, and after life you have death. And I know a lot of people turn to religion in their hours of need. When the times are hard, you turn to religion because you want some hope, you want something to hold on to. And a few years ago, my beautiful mum, she passed away. And she passed away very quickly, and it was pretty horrible at the time because she got cancer. And I know many of us have suffered a loss, especially recently, losses that you feel almost might have been avoidable, or just often loss sometimes it just doesn't make any sense. There's no sense to it. And she went to the doctor several times, and they didn't think anything was wrong with her because she seemed healthy. She seemed perfectly healthy. And I was thinking maybe because she's Polish, she didn't want to put up a fuss. And I was like, well, I'll put up a fuss because I'm British, mate, so I will put up a fuss. So I took her to A&E, and I was like, something's wrong. Like, she keeps burping, like something's wrong. But and she'd be like, oh, it's nothing. I was like, no, something's wrong. And they did a scan, and they found out she had stage 4 stomach and bowel cancer, and she died 6 weeks later. And the way my mum died is that they wouldn't cut the tumour out because it's inhumane to operate on somebody if there's a high chance of death on the table. Even if death is the prognosis, you can't operate. So what happened to my mum is that the tumour just blocked her stomach, and forgive me for sharing this if it's too much, and we just have to wait for her to starve because she couldn't eat. So you just have to wait to watch that unfold. And that was horrific to watch unfold, and it felt very inhumane and very cruel, and
very unnecessary, and we treat animals with more dignity and more love and respect and care than we do with human beings. And one of the things I found most difficult was that she was praying for Jesus to forgive her, to free her from this pain. And I hated that, because for some reason in my head, I thought if you're religious all your life and you do the right thing and you do the good thing, when the time comes, like, they'll be there. Like, he'll show up in a way that you recognize. So he'll be there. They'll be like, oh, hello, it's me, Jesus. Well, listen, don't worry, it's going to be shite for a while, but then you'll join me up here, and it'll be cracking. Whatever, right? He never showed. And instead what did show is that we had the priest come round. What does the priest do? The priest is there doing a ceremony where he's forgiving you for all your sins and being like, oh, you're a worthless piece of shit, let's hope he lets you in. Like, and you're like, this is horrible, this is not holy, this is not divine, this is not kind, like, this doesn't make any sense. And before she died, I asked her all the questions under the sun, like, what do I do if I have a baby? Look after it. Okay, but what if I, what do I do if I drop it? Well, try not to, but what if I accidentally just try and hold on to the baby? Yeah, but what if I accidentally leave it on the roof? Why would you leave it? You know when you go to Sainsbury's and you put it on the roof and you drive home and you're like, I've left the baby on the roof, like, what if I leave a baby on the roof? She's like, well, try and go shopping with somebody for the first few months. Okay. And how do I make your lasagna? Like, is it sheets first or is it sauce first? And then she died. So talk about your cliffhanger. Her lasagna was amazing, right? And so right before, as she was dying, she passed away in this hospice, and there was a moment that I went to the hospice, and on the way, I passed a dog's trust. And I hate dogs. I've never liked dogs. I've always thought dogs were dicks. And you've done nothing to change that opinion, Bernie, have you? And I went to a dog's trust, and I felt weirdly comforted by dogs. Like, I walked in, it was really nice. It was nice to be comforted by animals and babies. I couldn't talk to people, couldn't communicate how I felt. It's very weird to grieve for somebody, especially somebody that brought you up, because you've never known life without them, so you just don't know how to navigate it. And for me, the grief felt like somebody had unzipped me and poured acid on my insides, zips you back up and just expects you to continue, but you're fundamentally different because you've lost a great love, and that's what they say grief is. It's just all the love that you've lost, right? And it was very difficult to navigate, and I found comfort in animals, so I thought, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a dog, but I didn't want a second-hand one with issues. I wanted a pedigree, okay? I wanted a pedigree, because I didn't want one with issues, did I, Bernie? Didn't want one with issues. And I was a hot fucking mess, and I saw a picture of a puppy of a Bernese Mountain Dog, and I defy you to have the worst time of your life and look at a picture of an 8-week-old Bernese Mountain Dog, and you try not put a deposit down, mate. You try not put a deposit. So I saw this picture, and I thought, that'll fix it. I'll get one of them, right? And all my friends, right? All my friends were like, don't get a dog, you can't handle a dog, you can't even handle your own life, don't get a dog, right? And I was like, my mum's dead, they were like, get a dog, thank you, right? And they were like, at least get like a little dog, you've never had a dog, but at least get like a little handbag-sized dog, like don't get like, it's ridiculous, you're gonna have a huge dog, you're gonna bring it on stage with you, it's a ridiculous idea. My mum's dead, get the horse, thank you. So I reserved this Bernese Mountain Dog, and the idea was to collect it after the funeral, to have something to look forward to after the funeral, right? And it got to the funeral, and I recognised the importance of rituals. Like, funerals are important, and I think sometimes if you've never been to one before with somebody close to you, you can dread them. But they're actually very important to acknowledge, to reflect, to respect that person, that life, a period of time. And what's interesting about emotions is that even if we don't have that ritual, your body will naturally, instinctively want it. So, for example, what you might find is there's certain times of the year, if you lost somebody in the summer, for example, you find yourself feeling sad or irritated or weird, and you're like, why am I feeling weird in the summer? And it's because your body remembers, like that book, it keeps the score. Your body literally remembers things that have happened to you, right? Because the air smells the same. You're wearing sleeveless shirts again. You're wearing summer dresses. You're wearing things that you wore at the time when they've died or when something significant happened, so your body remembers it. So that need for ritual is important because it helps us process these emotions and collectively share and reflect and enjoy. And what I hated is the priest wouldn't let us do that because I wanted to have a celebration of her life, and I wanted to read that prayer, love is patient, love is kind. You know the one from the film? It's from the book too, but it's mainly from the film, people know it. And the priest was like, no, you can't have that prayer. It's a wedding prayer. You can't have that prayer. This is a funeral. You have to have a funeral prayer. So we're there. My mum's just died horribly, being like, oh, I'm a piece of shit. I hope he lets me in. I'm a piece of shit. I hope he lets me in. That's a shit prayer. I didn't like it at all, right? But the funeral happened, and I went to go get the dog, and then I got a text message saying, sorry, we've decided to keep your dog. And I was like, great, fucking, that's just wonderful, that's just great, fucking no dog. And all my friends were like, oh, thank fuck. Oh, my God. Thank fuck. Like, that's a sign from your mum. Like, that's your mum. That's your mum. Because she knows you'd be useless with a dog. So she's like, that's a sign. I'm like, that's really great. So on the worst day of my life, she took away the only thing I was looking forward to. So great, why don't you next time you give me a useful fucking sign? Like, I don't know, sauce first, Luisa. That's how you nail the lasagna. That would have been more useful. Anyway, so I go home, right, and I'm a fucking mess, and nothing makes sense. I hate everything, nothing makes sense. I don't want to cope, I can't really cope. I'm finding everything very difficult, and I find myself not finding comfort in any scriptures, but I like to sleep outside. For some reason, I want to sleep under the moon and stars. I feel close to her. So I'm sleeping outside, and I'm lying on the ground with the grass on my face next to my eye, so close to my eye that I can see every blade, because I'm trying to recognize that death is important, that after life must come death, that we need death in order for life to happen, that the antelope eat the grass and we eat the antelope, that we're all joined in the great circle of life, that even if the death, how it happened didn't make sense, you have to know that it has to happen for a reason, that there's a reason to these things, and even though I don't understand it and I can't comprehend it, I'm trying to get my body to help me process it. And I found myself going swimming. I can't swim for shit. I just go underwater and hold my breath and then come out again. Then I kept repeating that. I kept going swimming every day, just holding myself underwater and coming out again. It made no sense to me, but I was drawn to do it until somebody pointed out to me, oh, you're trying to reconnect with your mother's womb. You're trying to reconnect with your mother by submerging in water, which is what we do in baptism, rebirth. So you go, even if you don't know what to do, our body has this ancient wisdom and healing. It intrinsically knows sometimes what we need. And I go home and I'm feeling like shit, and I need to self-soothe, and the only way I know how to self-soothe is to masturbate. It's what I've always done. And but obviously I'm not feeling very horny because my mum died, so I put on some porn just to help move things along. And I love porn, and my favourite porn website is Rightmove, so I'm just there on Rightmove. Just looking at like detached houses in central London, mate, fucking highest to lowest. But I'm also a bit cautious because I'm a bit like, well, can you? Like, I don't know if she can. Like, I don't know how it is. Like, what if it is like in Beauty and the Beast? You know, in Beauty and the Beast, where they get the mirror and they're like, "Show me the girl." Like, what if it's like what if it's like that? Like, she's there with fucking George Michael, and like, my daughter, oh, yeah, do you want to see your daughter? Oh, I'd love to, what's Luisa up to? I hope she's making the most out of her life, and it's just me being like, 3-bed, and like, no. So go ahead. And I'm online, and this Google alert pops up, and it's for a Polish Bernese mountain dog, whose new owner returned her, because she was 8.5 weeks old, and the owner didn't want her because her teeth were wonky. Her teeth overbite. I said, wonky teeth, did you say? Just owl braces for 4.5 years, so. So straight now. I do know, I have not had a dog before, but I do know what it's like to have wonky teeth. And you said she's a Polish Bernese man, but she was born here, but she's got a Polish mama. Oh, I would just like to say that I was also born here, but I have so she doesn't know how to bark sometimes because the language gets confused. I also took a while to learn English. I'm just going to come and have a look at it. I'm not going to buy it. I'm just going to have a look at it. And I literally got £1,000 cash that I had for the previous dog, and I grabbed a washing basket, and I was in my pyjamas, and I drove 6.5 hours to this woman's house, right?
And I get there, and I finally get there, and I knock on the door, and this little Polish woman answers the door, and she's like, "Oh, you come for a dog?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "In pajamas with a washing basket. My mum's dead. Oh, come in, right?" And this woman invited me into her house, and it was so nice because she was fresh off the boat, so her twang, she was just had the same melody that my mum had. Like, and like, I can't understand the language, but I can hear it when people speak it. I love it. It's intrinsic. It's in my bones. It's my favourite kind of music. So she's there talking in Polish, being like, "Not the pa, not the pa, not the pa," and it feels beautiful. And she's a single mum, and her kids there, and I've got this beautiful puppy on my lap, and they say, "You don't pick the puppy, let the puppy choose you." Like, when you go to pick him up, let the puppy come to you and choose you. And I've got this beautiful puppy on my lap. And for the first time in like 2 months or whatever it had been, it felt like, for the first time, somebody had unzipped my insides and just put coconut oil on my soul. I just felt soothed. And I said, "I can't believe this is my dog." And she said, "That's not your dog. Your dog is over there. Eating carpet." Well, I like a strong, independent bitch. I'll take her instead, right? So I get this one in the car, right? And we're driving home, and she's crying the whole way fucking home. And I'm like, "Yeah, mine's dead. At least we can visit yours, right?" We get home, and she single-handedly saved my life. She has saved my life, this beautiful animal, because she has given me so much love. She has thrown so much love at me, and I've been able to throw all that love back at her. And it's wonderful how she's helped me on a day-to-day basis. She's given me a routine. She made me go out. I started going out more and going for walks and spending time with nature and going in the woods. And going in the woods and in nature is healing. And of course it's healing, because then you think about it, many, many moons ago, I don't know if you realise this, but you know this idea of men going out being hunters and women, "Oh, say I made a soup." Man punched a badger in the face, and I made a soup, right? And what you don't understand about that story is, how did the women make the soup? Well, the women made the soup because they learned to plant the herbs and the vegetables and the spices and the fruit. So it was the women that learned to cultivate the land. The women grew those things, they made those things into food. So it was women that made the land valuable. It was women that were the originators of agriculture. Women farmed the fucking land. Women farmed the land, belonged to the women. You didn't know who the father was, but you always knew who the mother was. So land was passed on daughter to daughter to daughter to daughter and shared by the community. And actually, there's a beautiful story that I've heard of that what we used to do is we used to have these ceremonies. So you'd have like a head priestess, like me, for example, let's say, and we'd be there, and I'd have all this land that I'm willing to pass on to my daughters, right? But I need somebody to shepherd it. So to shepherd it, I'd pick one of you guys to be my shepherd for a year, right? And do you know how we'd pick the shepherd? Very simple. You'd get a guy up here, and he'd have to fuck my brains out, right? He'd have to fuck my brains out. And you'd all watch, right? And if I came and was satisfied with his sex, I'd be like, "Well done, you could be a shepherd for a year," and you'd all give him a round of applause, right? You'd all give him a round of applause. And here's the thing that I love, this is my favourite part of this story, is if that man didn't make me climax, then I was not sexually satisfied. Do you know what we'd get together? And do you know what we'd do? We'd get together and we'd kill him. Very simple. We'd get together, kill him. And I can't help but think that we should bring that back. Because I don't know if you've looked at some of the recent world leaders, right? Look at these male world leaders. Look at the state of the world right now. Do any of these fools look like they've ever made a woman climax in their entire lives? So I'm out in nature and all this stuff is making sense, right? And it's all making sense, and I'm with Bernie, and I try to move back to my flat in London, and they're like, "What are you doing? You got a horse?" And I'm like, "I know, but can I have my room?" They were like, "No, you got a horse." So I was like, "Great, what do I do now?" They're like, "You need to move out, you need to find somewhere to live." So I was like, "Great." So I got a budget together of £250,000 mortgage to try and buy like a little one bed with a skylight. Didn't have to be fancy, living in London, just a little one bed with a skylight. And if you're thinking, "Louisa, how do you get a budget together, £250,000 mortgage?" Basically, I just lied on my tax return for the last 3.5 years. And I said that I earn a lot more money than I actually did, and I paid tax on that income that I never actually made. And if there is anyone in here from HMRC, that's a joke, lol. Why would you do that? Who would lie? Who would lie and pay more tax? Anyone that hasn't got rich parents and inheritance, that's fucking it, because you make it so hard to get on the property ladder, actually. So I got a mortgage of $250, and I asked the estate agent to show me around a place in North London, just with a skylight, and he took me to the car parking space. I said, great, where's the flat? He said, there is no flat, it's the car parking space. I said, for $250? He said, it's $280, I wanted to give you a reality check. Fuck my life, right? So I just had to move further out of London, so I live in a suburb of London now. It's called Birmingham. I don't know if you've heard of it. And I moved to Birmingham, right? And I hate Birmingham. I only moved there because my sister's there and I want to be close to family. And I moved there, but I hate it. I don't know, but I've got a 3-bed house, garden front and back. It's a palace, mate, right for $250. And I'm living in Birmingham, and I hate it. I don't recognise the people, I don't recognise the accent, I don't recognise the house. Nothing feels familiar. I don't like it. And I remember going for a walk with Bernie, and there was torrential rain, huge rain, loads of downpour rain, like it was heavenly rain. And I was really getting beaten by the elements, and it felt kind of beautiful. And then I got a phone call from my neighbour being like, Bab, your house is flooded. I was like, hilarious. So Birmingham floods, and there's an area of Birmingham that floods really badly, my area. And there's a street that floods particularly horrifically, my street. And there's one side of the street that's particularly off, my side. And the street goes into a dip, so there's a river here, and the street goes into a dip. And the house in the middle of the dip gets really pelted by my house. So I came up towards my street, and then there was boats on it, so I was like, oh, okay. Shit, like, what do we do? They're like, can't we get the fire brigade? And they were like, what do you want them to do? Like, with the hose? Like, can't they rewind it, or can't they suck it in? Or... And they were like, it's not how it works. You just have to wait for the water to subside. With a flood, you just have to wait for the water to subside. That's all you can do. So I'm sat there waiting, and I finally get up to my house, and I see all my belongings are floating, and I've got 4.5 feet of water, because everything I'd been there a few weeks, and everything I had in boxes was just floating on the ground floor. And I was like, fucking hell, and I eventually got rid of it. And luckily, my sister told me to get house insurance. But I was like, me, sit in my pants, house insurance, whatever. Ha, 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 ha. I laughed in the face of house insurance. And I luckily got it, because she forced me. And 3 days later, I'm like, hi, I need to claim for house insurance. And they were like, well, that's not a problem, Miss Omielan, you've been with us 3 days. And it turned out it was £37,000 worth of damage. So... It's a funny story. So it was £37,000 worth of damage, and eventually the house kind of dried out, and it was a mess, everything was ruined, and I got some builders in, and I was like, can you help me fix it? And they were like, no problem, Bab, let's fix the house for you. Like, how long will it take? Oh, how long is a piece of string, Bab? Very difficult. Oh, it's bad. Like, all of this needs to come off, all of this needs to go, all of this needs to go, Bab, all of this needs to go. How much do you think it will cost? Oh, Bab, like, how long's a piece of string, Bab? Like, how, oh, difficult to say, Bab, difficult to... Well, I have got £37,000 from the insurance company. Do you know what, Bab? That'll cover it. That'll cover it. If you haven't got a dad, do me a favour, always sign a contract with a building contractor and make sure you pay in deposits and instalments. Do not give them £37,000 because you're a woman living on your own and you think, oh, I'm going to trust you with my money more than I trust myself. Because what happened was that 8.5 months later, they left me with no central heating, no running water, no proper plumbing, the roof wasn't on properly, all the doors weren't fixed properly, it was a fucking mess. They plastered everything, but that was it, and they left, right? And I hated the house, I hated it, and I said to myself, I want to sell it, and I tried to sell it, and it was worth less than what I paid for it. And so my sister said, let's just paint it. Let's just paint it, make it feel like a bit more like home, let's paint it. So I was like, fine, I'll fucking paint it. So I went to B&Q, and I got bright pink masonry paint, and I came home, and I threw bright pink masonry paint on the fucking inside walls. If you haven't got a dad, masonry paint is used for outside walls, right? Don't use masonry paint on inside walls. And if you've had your walls freshly plastered, do not put paint directly on freshly plastered walls. What you need to do is something called a whitewash, where you get regular white paint and you mix it with water half and half, and you do a whitewash first. It's a bit like going in the sauna and then putting foundation on. Like, your pores are all open, it will look weird. You have to put a primer. So that's like a primer that you use on your face, on the walls. Okay, so that's for you lot. So I threw this masonry paint, and it was a mess. It was just a fucking mess. And I had a £2,000 overdraft, and I was like, right, I'll just get a painter in. I'm just going to pay for a painter. But I want a 5-star one. I'm not getting screwed over. And I looked through, and I found a painter decorator that had 5-star reviews and pictures to show their work. And his name was Danny Deco. So I called him, and I was like, right, come to my house, do this. I've got a £2,000 overdraft. That's all I've got. Do not waste my time, because I've already been screwed over. And this white van pulls up, and it's got all branded on. And out jumps this 5-foot-tall Muslim Pakistani painter decorator, right? He's about 23 years old. He's married with 2 kids. He's got a hat on backwards and a pencil behind his ear. And I'm like, here we fucking go. Don't waste my time, okay? Don't waste my time. over, £2,000 over, go in the house and show me how much you can do. I want to wallpaper the bedroom, pay everything else, tell me how much you can do for the whole price, and then I want it in writing exactly what it will cost, okay? And he goes in, he goes up, he has a look round, and he comes down, and he goes, okay, madam, I can do for you whole house, 800, no problem. Now, Danny Deco is a Muslim Pakistani painter decorator. So when I do an impression of him, it will be of a Muslim Pakistani painter decorator. I love doing an impression of Danny. As far as I'm concerned, it's a privilege to see my show because he's a fucking lucky guy. So, but for when I did this show once, I remember an Anglo-Saxon guy came up to me and asked me, not good in the sun, and he said, Luisa, I just don't think you should do the accent. Oh, which accent? The Pakistani one. I don't think you should do it. Oh, why not? Because it's racist. Oh, it's racist. Okay, so let's talk about that, shall we? So for many, many, many years, you had comedy where you had guys come up and do comedy, and they would use racial stereotypes, right? So you'd get racial stereotypes where they'd mock the accent, and they'd mock a Pakistani and an Indian accent. And it's phenomenal to me, that hypocrisy, that you find it easy to take the piss out of somebody that can clearly speak more than one language, because it's the only way you feel about yourself, because you can only speak one, right? So number one, that's not what's happening with the show. We're not punching down. That's not this, right? And number two, as you go, okay, so what accent would you like me to give my Muslim Pakistani painter decorator? What accent would you like me to give him? Just make him like a Cockney guy from London. Like a Cockney guy, yeah, just like a London taxi driver, like a white guy. Yeah, just make him like a, right, okay, see, you want me to make my Muslim Pakistani painter decorator a white Cockney guy from London. See, for me, that is racist. And if you've been paying attention to my story, I'm not very good at whitewashing, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick this. So Danny comes around, he goes to my bedroom, and I'm like sat in the bedroom, and I've got this wallpaper that reminds me of my grandma's house. It's like flock wallpaper. So I give him the wallpaper, and Danny turns around and he goes, oh, madam, no, I can't do this wallpaper. What do you mean you can't do the wallpaper? I can't do the wallpaper. No, I can't do this wallpaper. But he says, you said in the quote that you could do it. No, I can do wallpaper, but I can't do this wallpaper. What's wrong with the wallpaper? Like, I've got loads of rolls. I know, but I can't do it. But why can't you do the wallpaper? I don't like. Well, you don't have to like it, do you, dickhead? You don't have to fucking like it. Why don't you just do the job that you're paid to fucking do? How about that? Okay, madam, please, don't cry, don't cry. I will do the wallpaper for you. Just please don't tell anybody that Danny Deco did this room, okay? Your secret's safe with me, you dickhead. Fine, right? So he starts doing the wallpaper, and I go out in the hallway, and I'm trying to put up a shelf, right? And I've never put up a shelf before. It's really hard to put up a shelf when you're watching a YouTube video on your phone of how to put up a shelf, and you haven't got anything to, right? So I'm trying to figure out how to do this, right? And I hear this like laughing behind me, and it's Danny Deco, and he's like, what are you doing? You can't even do a shelf. Yeah, thank you so much. You are not a handy woman. Yeah, I know I'm not a handy woman. Thank you very much. Can you stop heckling me in my own house, please? Like, I am trying to put up a shelf here. You need to do a pilot hole. What the fuck's airplanes got to do with it? What the fuck? If you haven't got a dad, and you're screwing anything into a wall, what you need to do is a pilot hole. A pilot hole is basically a small hole that you put in before you put in the plug and then the bigger screw. So think of it like fingering the wall before you fuck it, right? Everything is much more secure once you do it that way, right? So he's like, let me do the shelf for you. I'm like, I can't pay you to do the shelf. No, I don't pay. Like, let me do one shelf. You can watch, you can learn, and then you can do shelves yourself, okay? Fine, okay, well, let's see how good you are at shelves, shall we? Let's see how good you are at shelves, right? Danny Deco gets his pencil out behind his ear, gets his drill. Zzz, within 2 minutes, he's got a shelf up, and you can do a pull-up off it. It's perfect, right? Danny Deco turns around. My nipples are hard. I'm like, oh, this is weird. Oh, no. Oh, God. I think I'm going to have to convert. I'm in love with my Muslim Pakistani fucking painter decorator. And Danny's like, how many shelves do you want? 6, please, 6, right? So Danny puts up shelves, right? And he starts coming around every day, and he's coming around all the time, and he's helping me out in my house, and it's nice to have him out and about, just round about, helping me out with the house, right? Painting and decorating. And I'm going out for walks with Bernie. And I go out for walks with Bernie, and again, I'm in nature and just thinking about things and just how difficult life is and reflecting on stuff, and you look at the world, and there's been loads of protests, haven't there, recently? Like loads of protests, whether it's like Black Lives Matter or Me Too or Pride or these movements, and these movements are for progress, aren't they? They're movements to say, let's have some equality. We want to be seen, we want to be respected, want to be heard, want to be valued, want to be considered, right? And it's movements towards progress.
is what's happening, to work more together, to more effectively together as a community. And all these great movements of progress were actually started by black women. So you think back where we came from, and now these movements of progress and evolution is back to where it started from. But the world just seems like it's on fire. And I'm walking with Bernie, and there's always somebody that's like, oh, he's a big boy, what's his name? It's Bernie. Oh, it's Bernie, short for Bernie's Mountain Dog, that's original. And it is original, actually, because her official name is well, I'll tell you the story. Basically, me and my best friend, we used to always go out together before she died. I say died, got into a relationship, felt the same. And and we used to spend Valentine's Day together, and all these, like steak and blowjob day, we'd spend it together because we were both loyal. And we always said that when we moved in together, we'd get a dog each called one steak or one blowjob. But obviously, like when I moved to Birmingham, I didn't want to call it steak because it's very vegan up there, so I wanted to be respectful. So I was like, I'll call it my favourite sauce to go with steak. I'll call it béarnaise sauce. So like her official name is actually béarnaise sauce. And in Poland, like there's a Polish expression which is like kruszeczka, which is like fat little cabbage, like fat little dumpling. So her official name is like béarnaise kruszeczka sauce. That's her actual full name, is béarnaise kruszeczka sauce. But when I'm in the park and a guy comes up to me, he's like, oh, Bernie, short for Bernie's Mountain Dog, that's original, isn't it? I have to be like, I know, I couldn't think of anything. Anyway, so I go home, right, and Danny's there in my living room, and he's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm in my house. I know, but why are you here every day? Like, normally people go to work, like, you don't have a job, no? No, I have a job, so why don't you go to work? Because I can't do my job right now. Why can't you do your job? Well, because my mom died. I know, you told me, but still, you should go to work. Yeah, okay, well, I can't do my job right now, because I'm not in the place to do it, okay? So what do? You wouldn't understand. I understand perfect English. Spaghetti junction make no sense, I understand. Well, actually, since you ask, I am a comedian. I thought there was something wrong. I thought there was something. I said to my wife, something is wrong with this girl. I don't know what it is. Okay, so you're Miss Famous, huh? I'm hardly famous. I live in Birmingham. If I was fucking famous, I wouldn't be living here. Don't be like this. Birmingham is very nice parks. Okay, well, I'm not. So you need to go to work. You need to go do ha-ha. Yeah, well, I can't do ha-ha right now, but you need to go. Why can't you do? Because I can't. Don't you understand? I feel like shit. I feel like shit all the time, every day. I don't care for making other people laugh. I don't care for hearing them laugh. I don't care for their joy. I used to be able to go to work and be like, ha ha ha, look how shit life is. And together, collectively, we laugh about it because you realise that, oh, there's some good bits that come out. And actually, that was stupid. It was naive to laugh about how shit life is because actually, if life wants to, it can pull the rug from underneath you and it can be royally shit. And it will fuck you. If it wants to, it can fuck you so hard and there's nothing you can do about it. And there's this false fucking ideology and pretense that if you work hard and you're a good person, it will work out. And actually, you could be a good person your entire life. And if it wants to fuck you at the end, it will fuck you. So what's the fucking point? I don't care for their joy. I feel like I'm on fire all the time. I hate life. I hate everything about it. I don't want to be here. I want to kill myself. But I can't because she'll be annoyed with me. So instead, what I do is I drive sometimes late at night without a seatbelt on recklessly in the vain hope that a van will come along and knock me the fuck out so then they won't say, oh, she killed herself, but she died, what a tragic accident. Because every morning, every time I open my eyes, I'm devastated that I'm still fucking here. I hate everything. I want to be dead. Do you know what you need? What, Danny Decker? You need a wardrobe. What the fuck? You need to get a wardrobe, okay? You need to get a wardrobe because look, your mind is not thinking clearly. Your mind is not thinking clearly. Look at your room, look at your space. Nothing has a proper place. If nothing has a proper place, you can't think clearly. Your mind is not calm. How can your mind be calm? Your mind is not calm because nothing has a proper place. Put everything in a proper place and your mind will be calm. I tried to fucking get a wardrobe made, didn't I? I went on Amazon and got dimensions wrong, so now I've got a fucking doll's house on the mantelpiece, like. Okay, so you need to go to IKEA. Oh, I tried to go to IKEA. I got to Spaghetti Junction and didn't understand, so I came home. Okay, so I will take you to IKEA. I'm not going with my painted decorator to IKEA. Fast forward, and he's driving me in the van to IKEA. And we get there, right, and we've got this big trolley, and he's measured the space for the wardrobe, right? So he's going to do like a fitted wardrobe, and we fit out, and he measures everything perfectly so it fits. And we pick all these things. It's quite exciting when you buy your first house, to buy things for your first house. It's a nice thing to do. Like curtain rails. I got so excited about fucking curtain poles. I got so excited, oh, we get a nice curtain pole for my first house. I'm putting those in, and duvet covers, and it just feels nice. And admittedly, I thought I'd be doing this like with a partner or my mum, not my paid decorator that's on a day rate, but I was like, oh my gosh, it's really exciting. It's like we're on a date. And you're, please don't say that. Don't say that. No. I don't want people to think that you're my wife, okay? To be fair, it's like every other date I've ever been on, so it's fair. And we get to the checkout, right? And they're like, you're right there, Babs, that'll come to like £989. Now, would you like us to come out and fit the wardrobe for you? We can come out and fit the wardrobe, but we'll take about 2 to 3 weeks. It's for £250. Would you like to purchase that? Yes, please, if you could do that, if you could come fit the wardrobe, because I'm not a handy woman, so if you could just do that. And Danny's like, please, don't pay, don't do that, don't, I will do the wardrobe for you. No, it's fine, because I have to pay them, I have to pay you, it's fine, it's just easier this way. Listen, don't pay them, don't pay me, I will come and do the wardrobe for you, I am your friend, come on. And I'm like, oh, you're not my friend, you're my painter decorator. Oh, because you have so many friends, huh? Oh, look at me every day dancing, I can't move, so many friends, can't move in my house. Oh, phone ringing every day, all my friends, all my friends. You don't have any friends, your only friend is your dog and she only likes you when you have food, I've watched. Fine, you can fucking build my wardrobe for free. Don't have to be a cunt about it, right? I will come tomorrow morning. Fine, 8 o'clock. Oh, so early. So the next morning, I wake up early, right? And I'm getting everything ready and preparing the room. And on the wall, I put in the framed picture of the footprints prayer from my mum's house. And I look at it and I'm thinking back about my mum and I want to feel shit about all the times I was a dick to her and I wanted to feel regret and just beat myself up because I was just in that kind of place. And actually I thought about all the times that I was horrible to her and rather than feeling sad, I was greatly comforted because I recognised that all the times I acted like a massive dickhead. She was phenomenal. She was kind. Every time I was angry and shout at her, I'd be like, I hate you so much, you've ruined everything, and slam the door on her. She'd go downstairs, make me a cup of tea, and have it waiting outside the door, saying, you ready to talk? Let me know. Every time that I'd be like, fuck you, you ruined everything, I hate you. She'd be like, you're hungry, aren't you? Yes! Yes! And there's nothing in the fridge because you haven't bought anything! And then she'd go to the kitchen, and within 20 minutes, she'd whisk up like a 5-course meal and an apple pie, best apple pie you've ever tasted. And you'd be like, oh, thank you, I know, don't worry, I know, I love you, I know. And every time that I was horrible and isolated myself and felt like shit, and every time I felt horrible and hateful and was in pain, because that's what it was pain, she threw love at me. She threw great fucking love at me, because that's what a mother's love does, isn't it? They throw great love at you. And when I saw only one set of footprints in the sand where I'd isolated myself, there was never one set of footprints. I look at the worst times in my life and she was always there for me. It was in those moments with her love. She carried me because she carried me. That's what a great mother's love does. And Danny Deco comes round and we get to the room, right? And he does the whole wardrobe, takes him the whole day. He's there from like 8 o'clock, gets to 4 o'clock, right? And he gets to the last shelf. And he goes, okay, Miss Famous, are you ready? Are you ready to be half a handy woman? Not whole handy woman, not graduate yet, but you can be half a handy woman. Yes, please, I want to be half a handy woman. Yes, please, I'd like to be half a handy woman. He's like, okay, do this screw. So one screw finished, you'll be half a handy woman. Okay, thank you. And so he gives me the drill bit, and I'm just about to screw it in so the shelf's finished. If you haven't got a dad, drills have 2 directions. That's not obvious if you've never used a drill before. And they've got a forward and they've got a reverse. And the reverse looks very much like it's still moving forward. So I didn't realise this, right? So I'm there with the drill bit. All I have to do is one screw, so I'm really excited to show Danny how good I am at being half a handy woman. So I'm there doing this one screw, and it's fucking it. I'm fucking really fucking it up. And Daddy's like, stop. I'm like, no, I can do it, right?
And I mess up the drill head, I mess up the drill bit, and the shelf locks down, and I just throw the drill on the floor, and then I just sit on the floor and start eating crisps. I fucking give up. I give up. And Danny turns to me and he is like, "What are you doing? You're so fat and useless. This is stupid. You can't. Why are you like this? You're so useless. You can't just flop on floor and give up and feed me, feed me. Why are you so fat and lazy? You can't be like this." And in that moment, my heart swelled wide open because I had forgotten what love sounded like. And love to me has always been somebody in my bedroom with a foreign accent, calling me fat and lazy, asking me to do better. And Danny Decker reminded me so much of my mum that day that he made my house feel like a home. Because that's what a great love does. That's what a great mother's love does. And I didn't expect to see my 62-year-old Polish Catholic mother in the eyes of a Muslim Pakistani 23-year-old decorator. But there she was. Because love transcends. Love transcends. It always has. It's all we have. It's all we need. And I look at the state of the world and you go, could you imagine how different it would be? And maybe we tapped into the idea of God is a woman, where rather than this masculine, where it's logic and it's reason and it's hunting and it's a top-down approach and it's judgmental, if we tapped into divine feminine, where it's nature and it's nurturing and it's community and it's together, and there's judgment, but there's judgment with love. So it's with love and support to help us fulfill our potential. If we treated God as if she was a woman, could you imagine how beautiful things could be, how differently we could treat each other, how well we could live? Because I feel like what the world needs right now, more than anything, what the world is crying out for is a mother to throw great fucking love at it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Luisa Omielan. Thank you for listening to my show. Big love. Thank you. 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 Thank you.
And I hate dogs. I've never liked dogs. Always thought they were dicks.
I hope you think it's worth it. I hope it's a beautiful show. Hopefully, like I've done it justice. I wanted to write a love letter to my mum, and I think I've done that. So thank you for helping me give this the send-off that I think it deserves. I'm Luisa Omielan. Big love. Thank you.